Welcome. Today we're going to talk about how to export your Armory 3D games to the web using HTML. So what we want to do is go down here to the render path and essentially configure your render path. Now I haven't made a specific video talking about the render path yet because there's a lot of options, but essentially it allows you to configure what your game looks and feels like. Now we can go down to the Armory properties and configure some viewport stuff. So we want to set it to full screen so it occupies the entire space of your browser when you export the game. And now we can go ahead and test it by setting it from Chrome to browser. And now we can go ahead and play it. And this is what your game is going to look like. Obviously, this is running locally, but when you export it, this is what your game's going to look like. Now, what you want to do is go ahead and modify some things. Namely, we want to set up the export option. So go to Armory Exporter and set it to target HTML, which is for the internet, for web. We have a bunch of options to configure, such as the name and different versions that you have. But what we want to do is uncheck, or more like check this box, because when we right click in the normal game, it's going to bring up this menu. So by checking that box, that menu isn't going to pop up. So you can actually use that as a mechanic. Now you can publish. So click that big publish button in the Armory Exporter section, and we can open the console as well to see what's actually going on behind the scenes. Once the game has actually been exported, it's going to show you where the game is located, obviously saved right along the blend file. And here is the path that the game is located to. So you can navigate to that path, or you just click that drop down and open the folder. And this is all the game that you have. This is all the files. We can go to GitHub, create a new repository, and rename this. It's very important you name it whatever you want and use .github.io. That end part is mandatory. You have to use .github.io. If not, this won't work. Now you can drag and drop the Armory files generated by Armory 3D, which is your game. And once all those files have been uploaded to GitHub in this new repository, you can merge them to that branch. And we can go ahead to the settings section now. Go down to pages, and this is where we're going to set up the game. So select main in the branch section, save that, and that's going to come up with this option. You can add a custom domain name if you have one of your own custom domain names, or you can wait a couple of minutes and it's going to actually show up with the URL. And there you go, it showed up. And this is where your Armory game is hosted in GitHub, so you can access it and play it via that URL. And there you go. Now you can share that URL to whoever you want, and you can obviously add a custom domain name if you want. But essentially, that's the bare bones of it. And you can now obviously update the game files with all your new. A really great tool, and allows for fast development and testing your games in the web without needing a big web hosting server. And obviously, all the web hosting is free, so it's really great and an awesome tool. You should definitely go check it out. And in further videos, we're going to talk more in detail about games in HTML on the internet with Armory 3D. So stay tuned, and I'll see you there.